So I showed you all this list this morning in the conversation that I saw on a thread on Twitter where they were talking about the mismanagement of Xbox and all of this stuff. And my goal was to show you that at the time that PlayStation was money hatting and locking down a lot of these games, Xbox was simply just focused on something. Now, what I didn't even realize as I was talking about this, because at that time, 2020, I was playing on a PlayStation, was there were also some third party deals that were coming to Game Pass, and these were developers bringing their games to their ecosystem. And also that this list is modified. It doesn't show the third party deals of Xbox at the end of the day. But even if we put those numbers in perspective, the goal was still to show basically how colossal the misstep of PlayStation was in terms of them money hatting these games. Number one, the core primary reason they developed this pillar even much more aggressively from the PS4 days, even going into PS5, was simply because they wanted to push Xbox out of the market. They wanted to harm Xbox's market position, its reputation as the console that could not get these games to people. So already, that was pretty much the goal behind this particular strategy. And ladies and gentlemen, if you notice something that even went down during this time, and I've mentioned this in old videos, and some of you reminded me today, shout out to the community, was that this money hatting actually inspired what so far has transpired between Xbox and PlayStation. And that is, as PlayStation was gaining ground, building a bigger console base that it thought would be comfortable for developers, Xbox basically got wind that they were trying to money hat, believe you me, Starfield. This particular list in 2021 or so and 2022 going into the new generation, I couldn't see all the games here, but if you pay very close attention, around this time Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop were money hatted, and even though these are not listed here, they were actually locked down to the PlayStation ecosystem from Bethesda. Even Bethesda themselves had their hands stuck in that PlayStation third party jar in order to bring games as timed exclusives to their own platform. And apparently they were going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. So it was not just that they were locking down the games on a long-term perspective for exclusives like, say, Final Fantasy. PlayStation was engaged in also trying to lock down these games, say, in the shorter term, like the Bethesda titles and maybe the more expensive deals that they could make. This then inspired Xbox to go ahead and just, pretty much say, you know what, we're going to throw our weight behind Bethesda. We're going to acquire the entire publisher. PlayStation set the tone for the market that it's dealing with right now. Not only has it spent all these, monies on all these other studios and all these other enterprises, it's basically spent money in the funding of games that are now in the Xbox ecosystem via Game Pass. So at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, they lost in a colossal way, and this strategy basically has become a fugazi, a dud at the end of the day, because these other publishers are now taking their games to Xbox because they need more sales. Many of the games are already on PC, and the market saturation is not in any way friendly to anybody. The market could not be bothered with your stupid exclusive that you're doing over there. And this is where I usually cite the SteamDB, game releases, because that number has always given us kind of a picture each year as to how many games are launched. And most of you remember that around 2014, towards the end, we were tracking the numbers, and there were about 18,000 games already sold. So they get exclusive on PlayStation, then they go to PC thinking they're gonna leverage money, and they realize that that is an extremely saturated market. You have to come out with an outstanding game because the PC player taste is kind of weird. It's not like they're PC players. I'm not saying that they're too selective. I'm just saying that they're playing a very different host of video games. Now you've shorted yourself. You can't sell on Xbox because you're locked into this exclusivity deal. And then when you take that money up front, you recover some of your cost. But then now you want to make another game. Well, you need sales to continue to, continue trickling in money into your studios. And so you need another audience because you've reached saturation point on PlayStation, where everybody's playing a live service game. You come on PC, where people are basically picky about the games that they're playing. And then now you're basically saddled with the reality that you got to go to Xbox. And now many of these particular games are now making their way to Xbox as we speak. And on top of that, PlayStation and many of these studios are in a position where they don't want to do business with PlayStation anymore in terms of exclusivity. They want to go independent. Some have even seen the writing on the wall, like Pearl Abyss, and they've decided, oh no, we're not going to go that route again. So PlayStation, thinking it had this particular padding to then build these live service games, because let me tell you, the timeline is actually weird. Apparently, Bluepoint had been working on their live service game before the so-called live service push. Now, I'm not going to take that as a conclusion of, oh, PlayStation was padding up its library with third-party exclusive single-player games so that it could invest in building live service games. However, they just only informed their, players, their investors, that they were going to be shifting the percentage from only 12% live service games to 60%. So now they've reallocated more money into live services, and all of the money that they were using in traditional games, maybe in development, maybe in money having third-party deals and such, they've reduced it. And not only have they reduced it, the developers themselves don't seem interested in actually taking this money anymore because they short themselves in the grand scheme of things. Look at Final Fantasy VII today, basically releasing and launching, and it's coming out pretty, on the back end of the PC platform, where at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be dealing with a huge plethora of other games. Sure, it may gain some sales, but the sales are going to be tepid compared to what it would have gotten as, say, compared to maybe it came out at launch. So PlayStation's exclusivity strategy in terms of third party is dated. It's behind the competition. Some developers, especially the big ones, aren't really interested. And Xbox basically has copped publishers from under their nose and is now looking stronger from a first party and third party perspective. Take this into account while we're looking at all of this. Thanks for watching the video. Talk to me in the comment section. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.